Welcome to Beyond the Desk Admin Advocates, where we explore what it truly means to be an administrative professional in today's world. I'm Melissa Mahoney, CEO of the International Association of Administrative Professionals.
And I'm Rachel Suman, CXO of IAAP. We're not just leaders in this field. We're advocates, champions, and former admins ourselves.
That's right, Rachel. This podcast isn't your typical industry talk. We're here to bring you real conversations, real stories, and real solutions.
From AI to self-awareness journeys, we're here to discuss the deep issues that admins face every day, drawing from our own experiences and those of our community.
So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out on your administrative journey, join us as we explore the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
Get ready for authentic insights, candid conversations, and a whole lot of inspiration. This is Beyond the Desk Admin Advocates. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 10. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe
I said it out loud and I was like, oh my gosh, we've had 10 episodes. We have had so much fun. And I'm not sure if we've shared like the seasonality of this podcast. So this is episode 10. We're going to do episode 11, and then we will take a break and come back to you next April. So gearing up for a little bit of a break, and we will miss you, but we are so excited to come back next season with some really cool stuff.
Yes, and hopefully maybe even a different space. We're hoping next season Rachel and I might be recording in the same room. So hopefully that will even change the experience, make it even better for you all.
Yes. Or if you're only podcast listeners, hop into YouTube and be like, what were they sitting in before? So we'll do a big reveal. But we were thinking about these last couple episodes and what we wanted to talk about. We thought it might be fun to do a little bit of a lightning round for each other. Mel and I know each other very well, and we would love to get to know you and have you to get to know us. So we've put together a list of questions that we can ask each other, and you can get a glimpse into the psyche that is Melissa and Rachel.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit more lighthearted than where we typically go in these podcasts. So some really fun questions. There are some deeper questions. We're going to end with some of those maybe more thought-provoking or deeper questions, but we really are starting with some lightning round, fun, lighthearted questions that hopefully just give you a little bit more access to who we are as people outside of the work that we do for IAAP.
Yes.
You want to kick us off, and
I will. Yes, I will.
Tag team the questions.
I'll start out with the questions and we'll ping pong back and forth. But remote work or office?
So I don't know if this will be a surprise to folks or not, but I am definitely a remote work advocate. I do love coming into the office occasionally and being around people, but as an extreme introvert, I do love my home space, my home, and I am very fortunate to have a lovely space in my home to work. And even with that, you only see me in the space, but I tend to, if I'm not on a meeting, pop out into other spots inside of my home. I did that earlier today to get some work done, change of venue, change of perspective, but I really love remote work. So I was definitely one of those COVID people who were like, oh no, we have to stay inside our home. Shucks.
I feel like my answer to this question is going to be cheating on the first question, but I really, truly...
You're going to say both.
I know, right? Like I value a hybrid experience. I really do. Like remote work, I'm very similar. I have a great setup. I love my home office. It's one of my favorite spaces. So I do love some remote work, especially for deep thinking, but I love going into the office and connecting with people and getting to actually see people IRL, so in real life. For some of you who may not know that, I just recently learned it, so no judgment, but both actually.
Yeah. And full disclosure, I think we've talked about this before, but our team is hybrid. So not all of our team members live in Kansas City, which is where we are headquartered. So there's never not never. There are only a couple of times a year when everyone is physically in the same space. So even for us to go into the office, that's not a typical, not everyone is in the office. So we're not able to connect with everyone physically. So we do operate in this hybrid space, and I think we do it really well. I think it has worked beautifully for our team. So
It has.
I think that's a fair response.
And I think we're going to fail lightning round. Okay.
We
So
are. Okay, we're going to go quicker. All
phone call
right.
or email?
Phone call or email? Neither. Can I say neither of those?
We're
Um,
failing at this. This is so good though. This is us.
both of them are no-goes for me. No, I definitely prefer an email, but man, it really depends on the situation or scenario. I am also one of those people, I loathe phone calls. My phone is almost always on silent, so it just never rings out loud. I'm one of those people. I prefer text message, Teams. We use Teams. I know a lot of people use Slack. Like, I prefer that in terms of messaging over phone or email.
Agreed.
Failing.
Agreed. Emojis have become a really important part of my communication style, emojis and GIFs, and you can't really do those. I try and do them in email, and sometimes they work and sometimes they fail. So I agree, like messaging, and although I do love a good Zoom call, so we should have
Yeah,
said
if
Zoom
that
and
counts
email.
as a phone call now, like if
That's true.
it was a Zoom call or email, I would definitely choose Zoom.
Yes.
This is definitely my preferred method of
Yes. Same.
comms. Coffee or tea?
Coffee for me, although tea later in the day.
Same, but coffee. If I have to pick one, it's coffee. If I had to lose one, it would be tea.
Yeah, I
I will
think
keep the coffee.
I agree. I agree. Early bird or night owl?
I am an early bird, occasionally a night owl, but I'm an early bird. Always have been.
I am neither. I am a sleeper. So I go to bed early. I wake up as late as possible. Like I need long amounts of sleep.
Fair enough. There, I just saw a reel on Insta, somebody advocating for a third option for you. Essentially, he was like, I like to go to bed early and I like to sleep as late as possible. And I don't remember what he called it, but I was like, yes, there should be a third option.
There
I'm definitely
is.
still an early bird, but yes, I know many people who don't identify as either night owl or early bird.
Mm-mm.
City living or countryside?
Oh, city living for me, 100%.
Yeah, this one is hard for me because I really do love both. We live in the quote unquote countryside. It is very quote unquote because it's not country, but where I currently reside is outside of a suburb. And so we get a little bit of the countryside vibe, and I love the peace, the nature, the
Mhm.
quiet, all of those things. Like, I adore them about where we live. And I love the city. Like, I love being in the city. Chicago is our favorite second city. We were just there this past weekend. It is our favorite place to visit. So we're like, if we could have a condo in downtown Chicago and this, and we could just bounce back and forth whenever we're feeling like we need city or whenever we're feeling like we need countryside, that would be ideal. That's not in the cards for us right now. So I'm just going to have to settle with trips to the city. And we
Visiting.
have a lovely downtown in Kansas City too. So we're very fortunate that we get to visit a pretty cool city vibe here in Kansas City whenever we want to. It's very accessible to us. So both.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like that's our answer for most of these.
It
So
won't be, some of these are going to be probably hardline. We'll see.
beach getaway or beach vacation or mountain getaway.
This one is definitely an easy one for me. I am a mountain girl all day, every day. I will just leave it at that because I know yours is the opposite.
It is. I love a hike in a mountain. I really do. But beach is definitely my go-to. I am leaving in 2 days for a beach and I literally cannot wait. So there's something about the ocean that is just incredibly calming. And that is the piece for me that you talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will do a mountain getaway 100% and love it. But if I have a choice, it's probably beach.
Yeah, we're definitely opposite on that. It's not that I don't like the beach. I dislike sand and all of the places where it
True.
gets. But fundamentally, I do enjoy a good walk on the beach. I love the sound of the ocean, the smells, like all those things are lovely. But I will, if you give me a choice every time, I will choose mountain over beach.
Yes. This next
Okay,
one is pretty opposite too,
it
actually.
is. Yes, dogs or cats,
Dogs or cats? I have dogs. I am actually allergic to cats, so that decision was made for me.
which makes me sad because it is cats for me. We are a cat house and not anti dog necessarily, but we are definitely cat people here. So we have two cats at home,
Two
one of which
dogs
is
here.
ill right now and needs to go see the doctor. So we're looking forward to that in our very near future. It's always
Pet
an exciting
ownership.
adventure.
Pet ownership at its finest. Yeah, neither. Is that an option? That's terrible. I'm just kidding. Movies at
Some
home
days.
or in theaters?
We are definitely split on this one. Mostly movies at home, but I do love a good blockbuster movie, summer, something action packed. I do love to go see like something like that in the theaters, but we're mostly movies at home.
Same for us. Yeah, I don't have to see every movie in the theater, but there's something nice about some of those, to your point, the bigger ones, especially like action or something that has a lot of excitement going on. I love seeing that in a theater,
What was
especially
your
now they've
most
got
recent
the what?
what was your most recent
Oh gosh,
movie
which
in
one was
theater?
it? We saw Twisters in the theater,
Same.
and that was really great because we had, y'all, I don't know if you have seen this, but they now have like chairs that vibrate as part of your sitch. And so I didn't realize that until about halfway through the theater, and I'm like, what is happening? So that one was a good theater one though,
It's a
one
great
like
example.
that.
We saw Twisters in the theater. And spoiler alert, we are of the generation where the original Twisters movie was like near and dear to
Dear
our
and dear.
experience growing up.
Yes.
That soundtrack will forever be one of my favorite movie soundtracks of all time. So we were absolutely going to see this new
Mhm.
Twisters movie, which I thought was lovely. I thought it was great. I thought they
They
did a
did a
great job
great
with it.
job.
It was
They
very
did.
entertaining, which is what I expected.
And I love that.
Movie plug. This
Oh,
isn't supposed to be
it's not. And I
a
almost
plug for
gave
the
away a
movie, but
spoiler, so I'm glad you said that because it stopped me. But the direction that they took that movie, I loved it.
yes, same. Sweet or savory snacks?
I think you and I are the same for this. So I am definitely a savory, salty person. I will do a little bit of sweet, but even if I do sweet, it has to have like sea salt or something on it mixed in with the sweet.
I was just talking to one of our board members this weekend about this. Like every time I eat something sweet, I crave a salty chaser. So it's like this, this vicious cycle of one bite of sweet treat and then oh now I have this need to eat salt. So I am definitely a savory snack. Have always craved the salty snacks over the sweet treats. Had a bizarre experience with that in my childhood just because I didn't run into many kids who didn't like candy and sweet treats. And still to this day, it's shocking for people to find out it literally like I will eat like half of a piece of candy and be like, okay, that's enough. And my
Mhm.
husband is like, how can you do that?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. Give me a bag of chips and I will really struggle to put that chip bag down after a few.
I went on a whole spiral with this the other day too, because my husband is Buddy the Elf. Syrup is a food
Same.
group. Absolutely. And so I went down, I'm like, is this some type of biological thing that's the sweet or the salty? Or I did not solve it, but it's interesting how dramatic the difference is.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Fiction or nonfiction books?
I am definitely more a nonfiction book reader. Reading is an escape or a getaway for me, and it is one of the things that brings me significant joy in my life. And not that I don't read, not, did I say fiction?
You said nonfiction, but
I meant fiction.
yeah.
Yeah. Not that I don't read nonfiction books because I do. I have two, I'm not even going to plug them here, but I have two books that I'm really excited about reading that are nonfiction sitting right here that Rachel and I have been talking about. Very excited to read those, but like my joy in reading comes from reading fiction. I love like being transported to other places and times. And even if it's like I'm all across the board too, in terms of what types of books that I will read. I've read just about every genre you can think of from fiction standpoint. Sorry, fiction. Fiction is my answer.
And
Is that
same. It's funny this came up because we were just talking about it, but it's true. Like I love getting caught up in story, especially if it's a story that just has a nice little bow. Like life doesn't work like that, and it isn't supposed to, but sometimes I just want that nice little bow and the book is over, and so that tends to work out a little bit better in fiction. Same.
yes.
Although I do love nonfiction and a lot of those books, but fiction is the go-to.
Yeah, same. Okay, so camping or luxury hotels?
Luxury hotels for me, like if camping is involved, it's probably glamping. So
Yeah,
I
and
am
I don't
too
even
old
know
to
what the
sleep.
step up from glamping is, but that's if I could have a luxury hotel and then camp with you during the day, I
Right.
might do
Visit
that.
camping? Is that a thing?
I don't know. Like daytime camp, like just can I just come do some of the activities with you during the day and then go back to my luxury hotel at nighttime?
And bathe and
That's my
sleep
pick.
and yeah, yeah, same. I am of an age where sleeping on the ground just is not in the cards for me anymore.
Same. And I need access to, I am a princess in that regard. I need access to
Sushi's okay.
not just a bed, but a bathroom that I'm not sharing with other folks, except for the person who's in my room that I have shared my life with.
You're
Um,
allowed.
he's allowed, and that's it. Air conditioning, that's
Hmm.
also a thing that I wish I wasn't so princessy about, but I am very much luxury hotel for me.
No bugs. Yes, same. Cooking at home or dining out?
Definitely cooking at home. And the caveat with that is that I don't do any of the cooking. So it's mostly eating at home. And my lovely chef of a husband, who he is not a formal chef, but should or could be. He does every part of whatever happens in that kitchen. Sometimes I help with cleaning. I try to make that a priority.
I
But
love
I
you
can't,
even
I
said
do sometimes
sometimes.
because I feel like I don't do it right. So sometimes I'm like, it's better if I just get out of the way and I let him do his thing in his kitchen. It is 100% his.
Exude gratitude. I am a self-identified foodie, so I do love a good dining out experience, especially for at like a more upscale place that has unique combinations and food. Like I love it. So I love eating at home, especially because I can, this is going to sound horrible. I can control what goes into it. Like I know what's in it and all of that, but I do love a good dining out. So I think I'll
Hmm.
say dining out.
Yeah, that
Final
tracks.
answer.
Summer or winter?
Oh, that's summer. 100%. Hands down, no question.
Both. I feel the same about pretty much the same about summer and winter. I like both of them and I also dislike both of them equally. Especially
An
like here
equal
in Kansas City,
opportunity,
we get all four seasons and we get them,
sometimes in one week.
yeah, sometimes all at the same time. But my favorite season is fall. So I'm
Yeah.
like, summer gets me to fall. And then I do enjoy winter sometimes.
It's the conduit. They're the conduits for the really great seasons.
Yes.
Big parties are intimate gatherings.
So shouldn't be a surprise, but intimate gatherings for me, and preferably intimate gatherings with people that I know very well.
Same, actually. I think we may have mentioned this on the podcast. I am actually an ambivert. I'm not an extrovert, as people might think. So, yeah, I will go to a big party and I can do it, but I need to recharge after. But hanging out with just a couple of friends is my preferred way to socialize.
Physical books or e-readers?
Oh, that's a really, that's a good question. I think for me, I love the act of a physical book, but I will do e-readers because it's on my phone. And if I'm like wanting to reread a book or I'm out somewhere without a book, I appreciate the accessibility of an e-reader.
Yeah, I'm pretty much physical book 99.9% of the time. If I really need it to be accessible, I appreciate that about e-readers, but I have a really hard time like actually consuming content that way,
Mhm.
and like retention is an issue for me with the e-readers. So I'm pretty much exclusively still physical books
I
for
feel
me.
like we're telling our age. This lightning round is
So
telling our
much.
age.
I don't have readers yet. I can still read the book without readers.
And that's okay. We're proud of our age, but it's giving you some glimpses.
It is.
Oh, adventurous foods or comfort foods?
I am a comfort foods person for sure. I will try some things, and my husband has been successful at getting me to be much more adventurous because he loves to cook and try new recipes and things. And just he is a foodie for sure. So his foodiness has rubbed off a bit on me. So I will try things, but I love a good comfort food sitch. We have some go-tos that we obviously really love in our house, and those are my favorite meals.
Feel like I already peaked
Yeah.
this, but I'm definitely an adventurous food. I've eaten some crazy stuff. And if it's the right chef, it doesn't matter. Yep. I like adventurous better than weird. So give me the
Yeah.
adventurous stuff.
I thought that was a really good description, better than I'd
Thanks.
seen in other areas. Okay, this is a fun one.
I know.
Spontaneous trips or planned vacations?
Those who know me know I am like type A plus. So planned vacation. I don't even know what a spontaneous like that makes my palms sweat. So planned getaways for sure.
So I'm somewhere in the middle of this. I definitely want to know some things, and I live with a type A plus plus.
That's
He's probably three pluses.
true.
So he definitely is prefers the plan. So we have to try and fit, because I really land somewhere in the middle of this where I like the spontaneity and not having everything structured. And I'm definitely more of a low key vacationer. So I just want
Mhm.
like a ton of time to relax and chill, and not a lot of pressure to go do things, partially because of what we do every day.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate I wouldn't want someone to just walk up and be like, "We're going to Paris." And I'm like, "Oh no, I want to be packed. I want to be like I have a life that needs to be prepared and planned for." And if someone came and said, "I've taken care of all of these things for you, and I'm whisking you off to," for me, Iceland or Scotland would be like, I would be like, "Yes, take me away." But I would definitely need to know like all of the things are taken care of. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to relax and chill on that vacation.
We
I can
may have
appreciate
stumbled,
that.
we may have stumbled on an idea, like a business idea, because you saying if you can take care of all of the pieces, I am leaving for vacation on Friday for a week, and I have recent memory of all of the things that entails as far as preparing. And yes, if I knew that was all taken care of, I could be a
A
spontaneous getaway.
pre-vacation planner, is that
Yes.
the business model?
A pre-vacation planner.
Somebody
List
out
out
there,
all of your
take it and
life.
run with it.
List out your life and we'll take care of the things and then just present
You're
you with
ready to
where you're
go.
going.
Yes.
Call me,
Okay.
put that together, y'all. I think we're both aligned on this one. Board games or video games?
It is board games for me, but I do love a good like Mario Kart, some of the old school like Nintendo games. I can get down with Dr. Mario. I can take down some Dr. Mario, but it really is board game. We are a game family. We have game nights often in our household. We have teenagers, and that's always a fun activity. We're uber competitive, so we have fun with it. It's definitely board/card games. Like we have game night in our house that is not video games.
Yeah, same. I can't tell you the last time I played a video game, but if somebody handed me an old school Nintendo and the gun from Duck Hunt, I would
Mhm.
drop everything and participate immediately.
Yes.
Agreed. Yes, same.
Yeah, I don't know. My son is a gamer, and he's a senior in high school, and he has a VR system. He has a very advanced gaming computer that he knows how to operate. Thank goodness, because we would not be able to help him with it. And the games that they played, I don't even know. He talks about them, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I want to be really interested in this, and I just not.
I'm so
Interesting.
happy for you though.
But I love that it is a passion of yours.
Okay, that was all of our lightning round questions, which we were super lightning on that. I'm just gonna give us some props.
Totally.
But now you have
I
a
don't
more
think,
of
I think we failed on every single one to
I
not
think we
give
did
huge
too.
backstory and tell our lovely storytelling.
I think we did too. But we warned
That's
you
okay
all
though.
that you were going to get a glimpse, and that was more like a curtain pulling back, but that's okay. So,
Yeah. Hopefully you appreciated it. A
and deeper, we wanted to have some questions that may take you a little bit further into
little
us.
bit more thought-provoking questions. And these ones we may not both answer, but the first one's for you. And if you could instantly learn any language, which one would it be and why?
Think my answer would be Italian because Italy is on my bucket list. I have spent a day on the edge of Italy in a town several years ago and absolutely adored it. And I really want to go back and do an immersive culture experience in Italy. So if I could instantly do that, plus there's something about those romance languages that I think it gives you access to other languages easier. So that feels like a cheat answer, but I'm like,
No,
I
I
could
love
then
it.
learn
Yeah.
all of these others.
No, I think that's great. Love it.
Okay. For you, what's a conspiracy theory that you find intriguing, even if you don't believe it?
So this is a really fun one. I actually I don't know that I don't believe it, but the Matrix and the concept of us living in a simulation of some sort, it got in there. And we were talking about this earlier, and I was telling you there are moments in time where my husband and I are like, oh, that was a glitch in the Matrix. You saw it, right? I saw it. Did you see it? Like where something repeats or the same person twice doing like the same thing in a city, or we
Now
have
we're
these
all going to
moments.
look for that.
Yeah, these moments where, oh, the same car drove by the block 3 times. The Truman Show is another, like, we're living in a simulation of some sort, like that conspiracy theory or idea that this is all simulated, or there's like another parallel universe somewhere where an alternate you is leading a different life, or those are the types of, I don't even know if those are considered conspiracy theories, but that's what I would say is so intriguing to me that I'm not sure if I do or don't believe it.
I think that's fascinating though. You're right. We were talking about it earlier and I was like, gosh, the Truman Show, you brought that up and I didn't think about that, but that is you clearly have to watch a whole bunch of movies to get this whole episode. So make a list,
Sorry.
but it really is like it's just plausible enough to be like, huh.
Right? Interesting that I've experienced that multiple times.
It's no longer deja vu.
No, what is deja vu? Could be the Matrix. Okay, so for you, what is one thing you wish you'd known when you were starting your career?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things, but honestly, the thing that I wish I had known sooner was my own value. And I'm going to use the word power and I use it very carefully because I know power has lots of connotation to different people. So I don't mean like icky, use it for against other people power, but just my own awareness of my capabilities, my leadership, my all of those things. Knowing that starting out my career, I don't know that it would have changed the trajectory necessarily, but would have changed how I showed up in the various places that I went and hopefully had more of an impact than I feel like I did in some of my previous roles.
Yeah, that's also interesting, connected to what we were just talking about. Interesting conundrum of would you have learned the lessons that you've learned if you had access to that knowledge at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of your career, or did all of those experiences contribute to you gaining that knowledge, and what would have been if you had access? So it's just an interesting,
Right? Like and there's no regrets. I don't
right,
mistakes aren't it's not anything like that, but it would be an interesting experiment, if you will, to go back. Now I need a back
back
to
to
the
the
future
future.
time machine. Continuing the movie theme, which those of you who know us are not surprised that this is where we ended up,
Right.
but like going back and redoing it with that knowledge, I don't know what would have changed. Yeah, it's not a regret thing, it's just
Yeah.
it would have I think it would have changed some things.
Hmm. Yep.
Okay. So for you, what's a childhood dream you still haven't given up on?
That's a great one because it is writing a book. I don't believe that I had formalized as a child that I wanted to be like a published author, but I knew I really enjoyed writing. And I knew I had this idea of what it was like to be a writer as an adult, partially because Hollywood has created this persona of the life of a writer that is mostly almost exclusively false, much like all of the things that we get from Hollywood. It's entertaining, which is fabulous, but false. But it is something that has stuck with me through my different career paths that I've taken. Writing has always been a part of some aspect of what I do. And now I am actually working on a book. It is in progress now on behalf of IAAP. So I am like making it happen. We are prioritize we being the team is really supporting me prioritizing this project because I think it's going to be a really critical or not critical, a really impactful part of how IAAP can create more access for admins. So I'm very excited about that. And I still very much enjoy just writing. Personally, I like to write about all different kinds of things. I love that the work we do gives me access to writing
Mhm.
like content and writing things that I never would have dreamed of participating in terms of the types of things that I get to write about. So that was definitely part of my childhood that was always a dream, just not a crystallized, like I didn't have a specific idea in mind of what it looked like. But I'm like, actually, I am a writer in my own way. It's just not the way Hollywood has deemed it to be. And it's not my soul. I'm not just or only an author,
Mhm.
just part of all of the things that I get to participate in. So I actually love that.
Kind of multiple dreams fit together. I love that too.
Yes. So for you, what skill do you want to improve this year?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, real talk, everyone. The skill that I want to improve on that has been on my list for a minute is focus. And the reason I say that is because I am enough of an extrovert that I am constantly like, my brain is constantly scanning the environment for what's happening. And I believe I have some control over that. And I recognize like some of that is just how I'm wired. And
Mhm.
I can 100% hear the conversation that's happening or the car that just drove by outside or whatever is happening in the world. And it contributes to an inability to like laser focus. My husband has the most amazing ability to like laser focus. Are there other people in the room? Laser focus. And that has its drawbacks. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but there's also something amazingly powerful about that level of focus. So I do not aspire to that. I do not believe that is a realistic goal to set for myself, but I can improve my focus in a way that I just can shut out the distraction. So that is and I believe it's a skill. There's some innate
Mhm.
pieces to it, but you can improve the skill. So that's what I want to improve upon.
I love that for a lot of reasons, and partially because you and I are somewhat opposite in that respect. Like, I have actually been known to disassociate in scenarios like I can tune out, very similar to what you're describing about your husband. And to your point, there are some drawbacks to that, but there is a practice to it, even on the other side of it. There's a practice to undoing that response
Mhm.
when you need to focus, but you also need to be aware of what's happening in your environment or surroundings. And people would not necessarily choose that readily as a skill, as a
Mm.
defined skill. And it absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree with you. That's something you can practice.
Mhm.
And you may not ever perfect it to the level of whatever the measurement is that you're trying to
Right.
get to, but
It probably doesn't exist.
improvement, yeah, development of that skill is absolutely possible. So I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. I am too. Hold me accountable.
I
Should you be
will.
paying attention to that right now? Okay. For you, I think this is our last one too. If you could instantly become an expert in one field, what would it be and why?
So this one is interesting for me because it's probably not one that people would think of as a field or maybe an area of expertise. So I was trying to figure out like how would I describe this? And the best way that I would describe it is I would love to have the level of genius in the field of music that like Mozart and Beethoven and the musicians and composers who just have access to music theory and an understanding of music as a language to deliver, the people who could create a symphonic masterpiece. Like, I want that level of music genius because I love and appreciate music. It is a core part of my life and all music. I love everything about it. I've played instruments, I can read sheet music, but I just have this intermediate knowledge of music and a deep appreciation for it. And it moves me in ways like music gives me access to the emotional part of my being in ways that nothing else does. And so, because it's such a meaningful part of my life, but I don't have access to the full language. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm appreciating it, but there's so much more to it that I don't understand or I can't access. Or so, man, would I love to just, even if it was just for a day, to have access to that level of like knowledge and understanding and connection to the underneath part of how music gets created and just music theory. That's absolutely what I would pick, which is outside of, I was like, how do I even describe that? But it is, that's the thing that if I could be an expert in a field, music is what I would want my expertise to be in.
There's so much science too, right? Around like music and its impact to not only our emotion, but like our physical being. Like I
Mental
100%,
health, like it's connected.
yeah, you said that. And I was like, oh, yes, ditto for all those reasons. Cause I think you're right. It's just such a beautiful, universal language
Language.
too. I
Mhm.
love that.
Yes.
Wow. Hopefully this is enjoyable for everyone and you learned, hopefully not too much, but a little bit more about us and who we are as people. We certainly had fun. I had fun. I think you had
I did.
fun.
Yes. It's always fun to talk about ourselves in this way and get to share this part of ourselves with the community. And even thinking about how this might support you. What I was thinking about as we were building this episode out, and just the idea of you getting access to us in a more personal way, there is something about our leadership style and our prioritization of being ourselves and being really authentic. And yes, we think through structure we want to put behind these episodes, and we put a lot of thought and intention into what type of content we think you might want, and we're looking for feedback in that way. And it's also really important that we're able to respond and be present with one another in this podcast space, so that we hopefully we are modeling for you that, number one, it is okay to be your completely authentic self. And not only okay, it is preferred.
Yeah.
I know this has been proven time and time again. There's a lot of like legitimate research behind it that people not only prefer it, but they trust other people who show up authentically. And you can tell immediately when someone is rehearsed or overly buttoned up. You're not really getting access to who they are as a real person. So if this episode did anything for you, I hope it modeled for you. And I hope you can take it and infuse this somewhere into your workplace or even your personal world and your personal life. This experience of talking human to human about things that may or may not impact the admin profession, but they do impact us, the people who are serving in this capacity. So if we can give you that gift, I hope that is something that we have been able to share with you through this experience of the lightning round podcast that we failed.
The air quote. That is so true. And you and I have been part of this community for many years and known many of our members for that many years. And I think there's even some things in this episode that may surprise some of those people. And that's okay. Like, at the end of the day, we are Melissa and Rachel, and we have the amazing privilege of getting to do this work and responsibility of doing this work. And we are ourselves doing it. So I love that. 100% agree. We have
One
one
more
more
episode.
episode. If you remember. So you never know what might happen on that next episode. So please tune in to episode 11, the final one that will be the end of September. But thank you for joining us today, and we will see you on the next one.
See you soon. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Beyond the Desk Admin Advocates. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of admins with us.
Remember, this podcast isn't just about listening, it's about taking action. Whether it's advocating for yourself in the workplace or supporting your fellow admins, let's continue to elevate this profession together. If you have any thoughts, questions, or topics you'd like us to explore in future episodes, don't hesitate to reach out to us on social media or through our website.
Until next time, keep pushing beyond the desk. And remember, change begins with you. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.